So yesterday we went through the ordination ceremony, and Venerable Children took us through line by line all of the different stages and wonderful teachings that this ceremony contains. It's actually, I think, my very most favorite ceremony that we do as a monastic. And there's this one line in particular that always goes straight to my heart, and it's so beautiful. It says, "Know yourself to be honorable and outstanding like this. Generate the feeling of preciousness and respect, and do not despise yourself." And I think this line means so much to me because I have a lot of self-doubting tendencies. And this line comes after a few comparisons that the Buddha had made to how much merit you acquire merely by aspiring to go forth, not only ordaining, but just aspiring. And it's supposedly worth more merit than if you made offerings to all the arhats throughout the universe for 100 years. So that's really quite remarkable. And this morning, Venerable Sepul was saying, how much do we really take this on board? And I think the answer is not enough, at least for me. So I'd really like to repeat this line to myself every day, or at least on a more regular basis, because I found that one of my biggest hindrances to progressing on the path is not thinking that I'm capable of doing so. I have very strong faith in the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, but when it comes to me practicing it, I don't know. And this line also reminds me that on the monastic path, we really learn to become our own best friend. And this is what my BBC will be about, is becoming our own best friend. On our YouTube channel, we were looking at the statistics the other day, and the second most popular video on our channel is How to Become Your Own Best Friend. It's by Venerable Children, a talk she gave, I think, at a college in 2014, and it has almost 93,000 views. So I think this is a popular topic for many people. And when I first came here to the Abbey, someone asked me, "Who's your best friend?" And I had to stop and think, and I was like, gee, I don't know. Is it, my friend from home? Is it my teacher? I'm not sure. And then she said, oh, it's actually the Buddha. And then it made me think, well, yeah, the Buddha's not here, but actually he is kind of here. I have a Buddha nature. All sentient beings have Buddha nature. So our own best friend is our Buddha nature. It's the pure nature of our minds. But on a more conventional level, I think the main way we become our own best friends by taking monastic ordination and by practicing the Dharma in general is by cultivating a reliable sense of self-esteem, a reliable source of self-esteem. And that's ethical conduct. And before spiritual practice became the center of my life, I relied on other sources of self-esteem that never quite overcame my insecurity, such as getting praise and love from friends and relatives, getting a good salary, and constantly padding my resume with more credentials and trainings. But all of these things were externally referenced, and I now know that a genuine sense of self-esteem comes from being kind to others and to living in line with your highest values. So becoming our own best friend involves just getting to know ourselves better, so that we can understand the reasons that we act and speak in the ways that we so habitually do. And as a monastic, there's certainly no shortage of opportunities to look into our minds and reflect on our inner states. And for me, what often comes up is not something that I would like to see. And so I've had to learn how to provide empathy and self-compassion and loving kindness to myself before I can even think about applying an antidote. Otherwise, I just go immediately into shame or fear or becoming my own worst enemy by scolding myself way too harshly, having unrealistic expectations. This wastes a lot of energy. And I have had to rely on the Sangha to learn how to do this. I don't know if I could have done this alone, and when there are times when I can't be my own friend, I'm so thankful to have others that I can turn to here who can provide that external sense of support. And another way I think that monastic life has helped me to become more friendly towards myself is through purification practice. So In that practice, we learn to distance ourselves from the mistakes that we've committed in the past, and we resolve not to do them again. And I found that I used to structure big parts of my identities around my afflictions, what I liked, what I hated, and what I thought was really boring and unimportant. And my mistakes and my regrets also featured very prominently in my biography when I look back. But by learning to aspire to higher values, to let go of mistakes that I've made and apologize to people, at least mentally, I now have a different sense of who I am. And I can finally let go of all of that emotional baggage from the past. So I've heard it said that we need a healthy sense of self before we can begin to dismantle it through our Buddhist practice. And I would say that this is the case. Reducing my critical self-talk and also learning how to be visible to myself and to appreciate my good qualities has allowed my mind to relax. And it's only in that relaxed state that I've been able to gain any kind of insight or clarity into how my mind works and to see that I'm just a conditioned phenomenon. And this has led me to think that we can only let go of something that we're attached to with love. We can't let go of ourselves or our attachments or our samsara in general with hatred and fear, but only by wishing ourselves to have something better. And I think this is a new take on the Buddha's phrase that hatred is never appeased by hatred, but only by love. So I would say that my monastic life has definitely helped me to develop healthier ways of relating to myself and my emotional needs, partly because I don't have access to the old resources that I used to rely on that were totally not helpful. And I find Venerable Chodron's recasting of renunciation as self-compassion as so true. And by keeping ethical precepts, we become our own guardians, not in this life alone, but for all future lives. And I repeatedly thank those beings in my continuum who have created the causes for me to be here. They're some of the best friends that anyone can have, I think. So may we learn through our practice to become the wise and kind friends that we all seek. And in doing this, we can learn to become wise and kind friends to others who are also in need.